You want to know a synchronicity though that did pop up. You sent a picture of Michael Jackson, and
Yeah.
the over the past couple days, I've had nothing but Michael Jackson synchronicities pop up, and
Yeah.
I hadn't looked at those photos until this morning. I don't look at them until the day we do the session, and
Yeah.
and then I saw you had a Michael Jackson picture, and they're like, "Well, I'll be damned." And so it's like had like basically psionic. I don't know if it was contact from him, but then also we were watching Pawn Stars Do America. The Michael Jackson doll popped up on there, and it was like,
What? That's what happened just before he died. A month before he died, I was getting all these synchronicities, and then of course when he died, I was at the beach, and I was on the. We have a hurricane barrier, in New Bedford because we could have we've had devastating hurricanes, so they had to build a barrier to protect the city. So I'm walking around the barrier, and I'm not knowing anything. I'm not putting two and two together. Says, why am I obsessed with Michael Jackson all of a sudden? I mean, it's always been my favorite. I grew up with him.
mm-hmm,
And I'm on the barrier, and I see all these terns. You know what terns are, right? They're
mm-hmm,
like miniature seagulls. They're
mm-hmm.
like these little teeny tiny ones with a long pointy tail,
Yeah, yeah.
forked tail. Yeah. So I see all these terns starting to spin in a tornado form, hundreds of them, and they're spinning and spinning and spinning right in front of me. And I didn't have a camera at the time, of course. And so, and I'm saying, what the heck is that? It's like a vortex of terns and all white birds. And I always, in the past, I've always had death omens as white birds. At least it has been for my families. That's passed on. So I get home, and sure enough, all over the news, Michael Jackson's dead. And of course this was 3 hours later than because of California time. So by the time they got it on the news, he had been dead 3 hours, which would have made me 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. on the hurricane barrier. So that was a sign from my guides, my angels, that somebody major took a pass, because I was watching TV late at night, and I had cable back then, and I was watching a commercial, and it showed Michael Jackson talking about a charity or some kind of like that,
Mm-hmm.
and his image froze on the screen. This was 2 weeks before he died. His image froze on the screen. I'm saying, what the heck is going on? It just froze in there.
Hmm.
And then eventually it started up again, and the commercial finished. So I was getting all one synchronicity after another. But why I sent you that picture is after he died, I don't know if I went to see him astrally. I don't know if he came to see me, but he had that jacket on. I could feel the fabric. He let me touch him. And I could feel, and I never knew if that was real, if that really happened to me.
Oh, I feel that was, I don't get synchronicities like that for nothing, So yeah, I was reminded of there was this cartoon years ago of that called Robot Chicken when that was on, and they had this segment on there where they showed the new Michael Jackson was actually an alien replacement, and the old one had been abducted by aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Like a changeling type of thing. And I'm thinking they're probably advertising something correct here. Uh, but uh, but it turns out I was at least partially right. It was like some kind of either MK Ultra stuff that took place or something of that nature. Or replacement, but basically what they were saying there, right out in the open, is that he was abducted and replaced. And sometimes you have to take that with a grain of salt, but sometimes they're telling you exactly what they've done. And
Right. In fact, the tarot reader, the one that solves crimes, had that as one of her sessions. She said that The Simpsons, what's that all about? They're predicting the future. So
mhm.
she's got that too. I'm amazed, absolutely amazed. And she's so funny. Oh my God, she's hilarious. She's like my sister from another mister. The guy with the spirit box. The guy with the spirit box says that Michael Jackson was castrated as a youth. That's why he sang so high. Joe had him castrated. Did you know that?
No, no, I didn't.
That's
Uh,
why he was grabbing his crotch on the on concert. Um, it wasn't a sexual gesture. It was to tell you, hey, this is what happened to me. In the serious language he had.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I had a feeling he was like MK Ultra and screwed with like the cults and all that.
If you take a tour through Graceland, when he was still alive and he had that Bashir interview, um, his bedroom was full of electronics. He had so many cables and things like that. And I think that's why he couldn't sleep. That they were sending signals to his brain during the night and he just couldn't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And then depending on the propofol and, medication and stuff like that to help sleep. It's pretty bad when you got to go to your dermatologist and have them knock you out with Demerol and all that just to sleep. Because you're one mess when you can't sleep. Just a couple nights and you can't sleep. That's it. Mm-hmm. So I know I had always wondered why my angels made sure I knew this. And, it's not like I had a public forum or anything and I could warn people. I just don't understand what the connection is with me and Michael, other than me loving his music.
Yeah, that's interesting that you got that. I ended up getting some of that too, and it's that's usually a true synchronicity when that happens. So no, let's see. You know, when I saw I've been logging them as I've been getting them, and and then I could cross compare all of them, and then of course, this was last night, a little bit before that is when some of this started, and where I just kept seeing Michael Jackson synchronicities, and then then I saw that picture. I'm like, I'll be damned. Hang on, I'm thinking we got something here. Hang on a second. Hmm. Ooh, you are coming in strong, actually. Yeah, I believe so. Hang on. Um, uh, he's ragging on me a little bit because I said he dressed like Captain Crunch, but uh, but it's like, come on, when you went to court that time, come on, you had a Captain Crunch vibe going on. Okay, let me see. All right, you know it, and I know it, and the world knows it. Let's see. Actually, you have a sense of humor, so let's see. Good. You're not actually being serious about that. Okay, good, good. Okay, let's see. What happened? Because I thought it was dimensional, maybe. I thought it was maybe MK Ultra. I thought it was satanic cult. What the holy hell? Um, uh, he says you were right on the castration part. So, but there's a but here. Okay, let's see. What's the synchronicity to us? Is it just because Spirit has built this to the point where there's a communication taking place here? Because Spirit likes to generate a bunch of synchronicities leading up to a closing of a cycle of some kind, or a correcting of something, some energy or something. So even if it's just two people. So what? I know Spirit's responsible for this part. Are you still a ghost, Michael? Because if you are, Elvis was too when I came across him. Um, so what? Hmm, there's something really important you once said that's frustrating the bejeebus out of you. So what? What is it? He looks like he did before he messed his face up. So, like, you know,
Well, according to his spirit communication through the spirit box, he said that the reason why he messed his face up was because he saw, when he looked in the mirror, he saw Joe Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to destroy that image.
Yeah. That's correct. You said. Oh, you want to clear up some things that I had theories about too. Okay. What else? Did your father do all of that to you? Was he part of the cultist crap? He was. Okay. With all of the kids, every one of them? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And is this also why your sister, when she had that whole thing with her boobie and everything, was she part of like the little false flag operations where they do all these little public distraction things? Yeah. Oh, you said I'm on right on the money. Okay. So, like with her and Justin Timberlake, that whole bit, and all the kids are used in some form or fashion in that particular respect. Yes. Okay. Why? Uh, uh, So, let's see, what was the gain by this, or was it just public distraction, mini false flag? What was the end game behind all of it? The end game was, in one word, evil, just control. Okay, all right.
His library. Don't forget, Tony wanted to get a hold of his library. Plus, he had that entertainment promotional concert people,
Uh-huh.
where he was heavily insured with them. So he was worth more dead than alive. And it just all blends in. You had too many hands in the pot.
Yeah, that and exactly. And I was asking him, why were there stupid things said and done, like the whole entertainer of the millennium crap that he fell for that time. And he said that was mind control. He's chuckling, but that's mind control, like what happened to Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Uh, and then he admitted later on he was being mind controlled. It's the same thing. So,
It's horrible. It's it's out of control now. What I want to ask him is, when the doctor left you to go take a phone call, go to the bathroom, did somebody come in, a security guard or somebody, and change your intravenous to some kind of toxic thing that would make you die?
yes, they would. Yes, they did. It was, yes, they did. Most definitely. It's like he's comparing it to Houdini. When I talked to Houdini, what happened was the spiritualist movement got him into a hospital where they could kill him, and then they blamed it on, the guy that punched him in the stomach. No, they tried to get him to a hospital by which then they could just blame it on an accident, but they really had him killed because he was working for the FBI and the federal government to root out the spiritualist mafia that was around. It's something similar to this, where what were you actually doing? Was it something similar to Houdini, Michael? Were you trying to bring something out into the public eye like Robin Williams was that time too? Um, what similar? Okay, is this why they executed you, because you had information on them, real bona fide information that would have really rocked the boat. Yeah. Okay. What was it exactly? Um. Okay. Uh-huh. Oh, you pulled a bit of a Robin Williams a little bit. Okay. What I mean by that is he did the outlandish, death to basically present how they did things in the background. Is that what you did? You built up this whole a child like land type of thing with the kids and everything, and you were trying to peg them for what they were doing with the child trade. Yes, okay, and but they mind controlled you on top of that. So you said retarded things in the press and did all that. Yeah, yeah. So, but through that mind control, you were still trying to inform very loudly as to what was going on. Yes. Did you have any of this like actual physical proof of it then? You did. Okay, what in what form? You had files, yes. You had photographs, you were basically blackmailing these people even through the mind control. And they got to you because they didn't want you releasing certain things. Just like what they would do to you or any other people like us if we had dirt on us. Because that's the cabal's MO. Yeah. So you just mirrored it back at him. Oh, well, awesome. So what was in think Hugh Hefner in the Playboy Mansion, yes.
I was going to bring that up. There was tunnels underneath from all the celebrity homes,
Yep,
so they could do their orgies and child trafficking underneath all the tunnels.
exactly. He says you're 110% correct, and Epstein was tied into it too, I believe. Yes, and I talked to Hugh Hefner one time after his death, and he said,
We took a shower after.
yeah, I wanted to bathe after he was around, but it was like, it was like, I wanted to know if he was involved in any of my SSP stuff at the time, so I summoned his presence. That was a mistake, but Right? Yeah, he's like, but that was gross. But it was think Playboy Mansion where the tunnels were underneath, like the old Hellfire Club in like England, for instance.
Well, that's what I equated it to. Yes.
And exactly, but on acid, he's telling me. And did they come?
And he had a stash of, I guess he had some kind of heroin thing going and adrenochrome. I think he only select views that he could really trust.
Oh yeah, yeah. And Michael, were you a recruiter or were you controlled to select kids to be in that environment? Unfortunately, you didn't want to do that, but you were playing the role, is what you were saying. Okay, and a meaning they had a tunnel that came up under your property on the in the amusement park and everything. Absolutely, they did. They built it. Did you build it in an area that was inconspicuous beforehand? And but when you made it so loud and out there, you put attention and public eyes on it. Is that what you're trying to tell me? Okay, like you going around as Captain Crunch and you doing that at the amusement park, and everybody's eyes was on were on your property. Yeah. Okay. So you couldn't escape from it, but you wanted to make sure others could and others noticed it. Okay. So all right. Okay, I can see where that came in handy. Basically that's why he built that up so to such an extent. He wanted people to see it as so creepy they were going to look in on it. And that I can see. I can see. But the mind control thing, like what happened with Mel Gibson when he kept doing the anti-Semitic stuff and the yelling and screaming and all this, and then he came on Graham Norton one time and said, "Yeah, it was all mind control." He goes, "I found a way out of it." He believed he did. So, but yeah, he's telling me I had.
Michael, is there a celebrity lottery? Like, if your number comes up, then they unalive you, dedicate you, sacrifice you to some entity of some kind?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, they do that?
yes. 110%, yes. And he goes, you never know who's going to become the scapegoat, like the one that's thrown under the bus, like what happened to Epstein. He was
Yeah.
actually surprised, is what he's
Yeah.
saying. And then you never know who's going to be thrown under the bus. Cosby was one of those. He was the public
Well,
crime.
like Elvis Connolly's, so
Yeah.
that what a horrible thing to do.
Yeah, he did. That's exactly. You are absolutely correct. He says that's exactly what happened. Also, what was it? Matt Lauer, the more minor one. Minor? Oh, you corrected me. I thought it was a more of a minor target. Nope. Just as bad as the rest of them. Okay.
He's a big fool. Hey, did you see that video on Al Roker where he freezes for?
Oh yeah, yeah. That was mind control. He just said too. Yeah, the mind control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were saying something like it was like a Men in Black thing where they hold that cylinder device and they erase your memory for just that small amount of time. Is that what they were practicing?
Yeah, it was a test of the system essentially. Is what they were rebooting. What? Mm, Okay, he's using a Star Trek reference where there was an old episode of the old series where they go to this planet and the people are controlled by an artificial intelligence, but every time at the same time every day, Spock notices that people go crazy or freeze or do something, and it's because the AI is cycling and trying to do a maintenance cycle at some point that it has to do, or like updating or something like that. And Spock makes this that it happens every time. They were basically saying lunar cycles and AI, like basically planetary cycles and everything. But with this, yes, he says that I'm actually correct on this, where they were making a test of the system and they were trying to basically the binary network or the psionic dampening was actually running an update on Al Roker. So, not necessarily updating him per se, but changing some parameters. It's more of an update than, yeah, it was changing some parameters, and then he froze for a second while they did it. They took a big risk doing that.
They wanted to send a message to everybody there that all the big shots that are running that studio.
Yep.
That everybody's expendable. We can replace Al Roker.
Yeah, they were showing. They allowed it to be displayed so that it was a warning to all the rest of them. Yeah.
He was such a goofy looking guy anyway.
Yeah,
I mean,
creepy.
they had a freeze like that. That was so scary.
Yeah, Michael just said, he goes, yeah, creepy, and then Isaac in the background went, "You should talk, man." It's like it's like, but But I just heard you could talk, man. But true. Okay, yeah, all right. Okay, you're funny. Okay.
I'd like to ask you about Lisa. I mean, was that an unalive event on purpose, or did she just, fall into the trap of vanity and wanted to be thin, and she got suckered?
Which who was it?
Lisa Marie.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh no, 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 no. I knew I brought up Elvis for a reason. Yeah. So, did she fall into the trap like what happened with her father? But her father wanted to make a point too, so he was loud and out there with his death as well.
But she's saying that Priscilla is the mastermind behind this. That she's turned that evil that she would sacrifice her own daughter. So I don't know.
He's nodding. He's actually sad when you say that because yeah, correct. He says unfortunately correct. This has gone. All of this has gone very far. Just know he goes. Just know that the okay, the replacement story about him, like what I was theorizing, the whole changeling thing, he goes, not true. He was actually still there, but his human body was being controlled. Now, think of the Lisa Marie Presley. That's the next sacrifice. He's saying on the okay. He's using a show reference here. There was an episode of South Park quite a while ago, whereas this had to do with the Britney Spears thing, and this foreshadowed what happened later. Whereas they were showing her as like they sacrificed her like to the harvest, meaning this like how the old like Aztecs and them would pray for a good harvest by sacrificing an enemy or something like that. That's how they went with that, and then all of a sudden everything's fine again. Oh, they basically Satan needs his soul kind of thing, or soul.
In a cage, and every time she starts to pray to get help from God, they torture her.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
Whatever they put her in, what aspect of her is in a cage.
Yeah, exactly. And also the next one they pegged on South Park was actually Miley Cyrus, and then we all know what happened to her after that. So it was like,
did you see that era that she was in with the diapers?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, she's all sorts of creepy. Yeah, that shows that she was programmed as the next outlandish thing. Lady Gaga was another one too, but this. But yes, he's saying I'm correct on all counts, but
I'm telling you, this is such a mess, and I don't know, how do we get out of it? We can't. I mean, there's still running the show.
I'm going to see if Michael, are you in spirit or are you a ghost? I haven't been able to completely tell. Are you are you semi quasi one and the other? Because sometimes there's a state in between. Are you okay?
Well, I know he's watching over his children, so
he is. He is. So you wanted this out. So what? There's one thing. There's one thing left. You wanted to correct me on my theorization. You weren't. Were they using the replacement story on Robot Chicken as more of a narrative or cover? Okay. There's one other thing that you wanted to correct me on it. What was that? Or you wanted to bring out rather, because I know you've been laying these synchronicities down and left and right. So what? There's something above this that he's wanting to really put out. Huh? Come again? Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. He says the truth of what's going on is actually much simpler than they've put out there. He's saying there's so many convoluted narratives out there that some are true and some aren't. But the simplest explanation of this is usually the right one. What? Okay, it's basically mind control, but divide, conquer, control, and also one important thing. That's very interesting. He said the truth is always on the surface. Even if it's a narrative, just like when Chadwick Boseman came in, he told us that anything public is narrative. But Michael's going in a different direction. He's basically saying the truth's always on the surface, meaning even if it is in a narrative. is what you're saying. Okay. So that's actually interesting, meaning no matter how badly they've convoluted it, it's always being seen. Yes. Okay. They just convoluted it because I know they always have to say what they're doing, but what was surrounding you? Of course, the murder, the whole Playland thing. No, Isaac, it was not McDonald's play place. Okay, let's see. Okay, now I'm going to have to ask you to justify that one because I know you're onto something here. So, are you saying that those were being used to abduct children and put into this? Yes. Oh wow. Okay. I was in one of those. I always had those. McDonald's is a huge industry right now, collectible industry right now. So, Michael, is he correct? Yes. Okay. Unfortunately. So there's one other thing, there's something on the tip of your tongue here. You're thinking that if you think I'm not going to like it, of course I don't like any of this, but it's informative. So,
Mhm.
so
And
what?
you have the podcast, so I'm just sitting here in my home doing research.
So yeah. So what's the last thing here, or the thing that look into? No, not looking to. Don't believe like the narrative portions of what's on the surface, but the core cause is legit, meaning the core thing that they're convoluting is. But about you in particular, you chose. Okay, you want to reiterate this? You chose the outlandish lifestyle. Some will choose us. Look for those that are really loud and out in the open. Those are the ones that have been MK Ultra the most and have the most to lose and the most to give back to the public, as in information, like the ones that are loud and out there. Look for what's displayed. Okay, he's using another show reference on an episode of Quantum Leap when one of the very first episodes where Sam is finds out that he's in the same time frame as as his wife, original like girlfriend that he wonders if he could alter his own timeline. And Al tells him he can't do that, but at the same time, he's wearing an outfit that says something in ancient Egyptian on it. He basically says to Sam, he goes, "You're fluent in multiple languages, including ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs." And what it said on this belt was he was telling Sam the coordinates to go meet this person and alter his own timeline in the process of helping this other person. And it was right out in the open. What Michael's telling me is look for people with these outlandish outfits. They are saying something out in the open like that.
Did you hear what happened at Coachella with Justin Bieber and Jaden Smith, Will Smith's son?
No,
Oh, it's all over the internet. You got to watch. It just happened like 6 to 7 days ago. They're at Coachella, and they both been under P Diddy's slavery.
Yeah. P. Diddy's being thrown under the bus, he said, too. Just
Yeah, they're both doing the wild thing with each other, apparently. So that's how they got initiated anyway, as children. So, but out in public, in front of the media and everything, Jaden comes up behind Justin and starts pushing his pelvis into his rear end and grinding against him, and then they kiss each other on the cheek or something like that. It's all over the internet. Get a look at it.
Huh. Yeah, okay, yeah, and also the fact that Will Smith, I believe, went to Coachella and did the whole Men in Black routine. But I'm thinking, okay, Michael, are you saying that that was a cover for the other thing? Are they using the alien narrative as a major cover to cover the other thing? Absolutely, 110% correct. Okay, so though the alien thing is real, they're over bloating it and turning it, making it so people get their disclosure, quote unquote, and they're not paying attention to the horror show like what the Martian Germans pulled off, or like what the Luciferian Kabbalists are doing. And okay, so and the adrenochroming and the child trade and all that other stuff. Yeah, okay, so that's why Will Smith was there doing the Men in Black thing to counterbalance the other thing, is what you're trying to tell me. Yes. Okay. That actually makes sense to me. So that if you see the in totality of the picture, the whole message makes sense. So, um, so what? There's something he is still wanting to say or help with here. Hmm? Uh-huh. Look at what? I can hardly hear you, Michael. Is your ghost moving on? As I can see you kind of particleizing a little bit. Uh,
Is he losing energy?
yeah, he's losing cohesion here, so which tells me spirit is totally enveloping him. So, uh, thank you. Oh, you're moving on. You actually got the message across that you wanted to. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Love you.
Yeah, thank you. That's great. Thank you, thank you. I was wondering what all the damn synchronicities were, and I'm thinking I should know by now that's attempted communication. So it's
Hey, this is the most excitement I've ever had in my bedroom.
yeah. You had his poster, you said?
No, I don't know if I have his poster, but I mean, I've been with you since you were a little kid.
Well, yeah, and I had when I was little, I had a tape of of Michael Jackson. I had this. I just heard "Beat It" on the radio the other day. That was part of the synchronicity. I happened to flip it, and then "Man in the Mirror" is one of Joanna's favorite songs, and that's also a clue of looking and making interchange, shadow work, all this other stuff. But this. But yeah, yeah, there's been Michael Jackson synchronicities up the wazoo. Oh, he had one final word. I'm wearing one of my Merkaba shirts, one of those, and a big red one. And he goes, Captain Crunch doesn't have anything on that thing, so he's pointing at that shirt. So it's like,
One more thing, Michael. Now, I saw a long time ago. I saw on TV. I don't know what it was, what show it was, but it was about Egypt, and they showed a picture of you from Egyptian times. Were you back then? Were you some bigwig back then?
the soul was, yes, and also the reason they were showing soul was, but also at the same time they were showing some of the cult activity in the cabal because that's the origin of the cabal. See, so he was pegging yet another aspect of the history, but yet his soul was back then too. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so he was pegging both past life and now. Basically, we're showing the false cultism with Egypt that the cabal likes to use because that's their point of origin. So, so that's what. Yes, I just got a over resounding yes to that. So that's where the Rothschilds come in because what their original name was before the term corrupted to Rothschild, it was actually Ra Shield, and when it switched languages, it corrupted to Rothschild, and not a lot of people know this. And also in the cartoon, you have He-Man, Masters of the Universe, and you have She-Ra. So if you take She-Ra and flip it around, it's Ra She or Ra Shield. So that's the like an Isis feminine, and then the other one is more this blonde hair, blue eyed, masculine master of the universe. That's Martian German or German, like uh see basically showing basically they were displaying the two cults that were it was Martian German and also Egyptian Kabbalist groups as well. There's two distinct bad guys there. Uh and the Martian Germans have 9/10 of it, and the others have a little bit more, a little like only like a bit. But the new Schwabenlanders have a little bit more there. But the thing of it is, there was an episode of She-Ra one time that where she was defending the White City against a big flying clock, which was like AI, and the White City was Washington D.C. in reality. So that's why you have the whole goddess on top of the Capitol deal. But yeah, that's also He-Man constantly going after Skeletor. Skeletor was essentially like a Grim Reaper, like dark elf type. Before he got his face burned, it was like he looked like a dark elf, and it was basically like Odin going after the dark elves kind of deal. But he got his face burned with acid, and that's when he became Skeletor. But it was but that's in the lore. If you look into the whole lore of Masters of the Universe, you see a lot of weird crap. Like the origin of He-Man was King Grayskull, and King Grayskull puts his essence into his sword, and but then he's going after a demon lord, which looks like a dark elf at the time too. And as he kills, he decapitates this demon. This demon passes through his abdomen, which would be like the above the, it was the navel, above the navel chakra there, passes through him into a realm called Despondos, which is like a hell. And the spirit go that essence of that demon goes away. But when King Grayskull puts his magic into his sword, there's like a little tiny residue of that demon lord still there. So when He-Man transforms one time flips to dark and he starts slaughtering his enemies like Conan the Barbarian. That's out of the comic books or graphic novels, and so there's a residual of that demon in there too. And so there's a lot of this real like Gnostic and esoteric stuff in Masters of the Universe, but there's also Martian German propaganda and Kabbalist propaganda in there too. So it there's a lot of layers of stuff in there. That's why they when they brought it back, they went with the extreme like woke stuff in Masters of the Universe, like Reborn, or I can't remember the name of the cartoon, uh but yeah, if you look in Masters of the Universe, you're gonna see a lot of this stuff put in there. And they're basically saying like you know basically princes of the universe, like Highlander. Essentially that's Martian, German, blonde hair, blue eyed, Aldebaran, Nordic type. But yeah,
Mhm.
that's essentially what that people are up against. But it's like what Freddie Mercury said at War with the Darkest Powers, Princes of the Universe, the Highlander theme song. New York, though, the whole gathering concept is like a gathering of experiment, a gathering of souls, gathering of all of this because it's under reptilian control. So, and that's where you get the head chopping thing from. There can be only one, basically they basically go after each other to harvest the energies, and they basically kill each other to get that quickening or that high. So that's where they got the Highlander shit from. But that's it in a nutshell. But what I was able to figure out, because I wonder what the whole gathering thing was in that. But yeah, that's the thing Michael wanted to bring across, is he wanted to specify as to what was going on.